Hello, my name is Chloe. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking to you about my best books of 2023. So my best books of the year this year were actually incredibly easy to choose because I only gave 14 5-star ratings. 2 of those were final books in a series. I should now preface this saying that I am pre-filming this video because of going away at the end of this year, so there might have been more, but at the time of filming, that's how many I have to talk to you about. So I've said 12 months, 12 books, which seems like a really good number of favourites. I haven't included any rereads on my list because they were more than likely in a previous favourites video. And first, I do have some honourable mentions to talk to you about that have just missed out on the top spots. I'm going to try and keep this one short and sweet because including the honourable mentions, I do have about 20 books to talk to you about and I don't want to keep you here for longer than 20 minutes. So my first honourable mention is The Duke and I by Julia Quinn, which I gave 4.5 stars when I read it in April. This book has caused a slight obsession with the Bridgerton universe and the TV show and waiting for season 3, and also sparked an interest in Regency romance that I didn't think I would have. Next up, we have The Grace Year by Kim Liggett, which I gave 4.5 stars in June. It's definitely a new favourite in the dystopian genre, but it didn't have 5-star feels for me. Also, The Mysterious Case of the Alperton Angels by Janice Hallett. I gave this 4.5 stars when I read it in April. The reading experience of this was absolutely fantastic. It is mixed media heavy, but the mystery itself wasn't quite seamless. A cute romance on this list, we have The Hating Game by Sally Thorne, which I gave 4.5 stars when I read it in February. It was almost perfect, but it needed an epilogue for 5 stars because the ending was so abrupt. We have My Lovely Wife by Samantha Downing, which I gave 4.5 stars in February. I really liked this book, but some parts of the mystery were so obvious that I couldn't give it a 5-star overall. The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker, I gave 4.5 stars in September. Again, nearly perfect. I loved the small town romance vibes, but I needed less fade to black scenes. If you're gonna give me smut, give me smut. Then I have 2 5 stars which just slightly missed out on the top spot. City of Heavenly Fire by Cassandra Clare. I gave this 5 stars when I read it in April. I'm not sure how much of that was this is a good book and how much of it was I'm so glad I finally finished The Mortal Instruments and nostalgia, so I didn't put it on my favourites list. And this one I hope isn't controversial. I have Actual Age Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert, which I gave 5 stars when I read it in March. I absolutely loved it. I can see why Eve is everyone's favourite sister, but I'm not 100% sure that it would stand up to be a favourite as a standalone and not like a companion book. So because I'm classing it as a series, I'm saying that I can't really include it. I know that doesn't make sense, but I wanted 12 favourites, so just take it. So first up for the 12 favourites, book number 12, we have The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. I read this in February. It was one of the Patreon buddy read picks and genuinely just head empty. It's fun. This is an adult romance set in a theme park or amusement park with the grumpy boss getting close to somebody starting out in the company, and I did really like it. It was so unnecessary, so many epilogues. I think there were like 3 extended epilogues, but it was just good vibes. Genuinely fun, easy romance. Next I have The Female of the Species by Mindy McGuinness. I read this in January, and when I finished it, and even looking back now, I'm still not 100% sure what I thought of this book, but the vibes were just immaculate. So one thing about me, and I've really discovered with my reading, is I like weird books, but they have to be a very specific type of weird. I've experienced with a lot of weird in books this year, and this one was really good. It's a teenage girl who's involved somehow in a bit of a murder mystery, and she's just seen as a little bit weird by her school friends. Romances start happening and it's just odd. I loved it. In 10th place we have Defy the Night by Bridget Kemmerer, which I read in January. I was really scared to start a new fantasy series, especially one by Bridget Kemmerer, because I love her work so much and I really wanted this to be good, and genuinely she smashed it out of the park again. So this is a series set in a world where people are getting sick and they need a very particular herb in order to stay healthy, but the herb is distributed throughout the kingdom and the rich people get more of it, the poor people struggle. In kind of a Robin Hood situation, our main character steals from the rich to give to the poor, and just Bridget Cameron has smashed it out of the park again. In 9th place, we have Confess by Colleen Hoover, which I read in November. This is not the best Colleen Hoover book I've ever read, but I cried like a little baby. This is a book about a young girl who is 15 when her boyfriend dies. He has some form of cancer, so it's such a tragic loss to happen so young in her life. We then follow her as an older adult, settling in to a new town and looking for work when she stumbles upon an opportunity at an art gallery. And yeah, I cried like a little baby. I really did, twice. In 8th place, we have The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. This is an adult thriller mystery kind of book, and I hate going along with the hype. Particularly when it's TikTok hype, I will try my best to avoid it. But this one I so shouldn't have, and I'm so glad I picked it up relatively close to when I hauled it. This book follows a woman who becomes a live-in maid, and the woman of the house is making everything just difficult for her and she doesn't know why. The man of the house is a little bit more of a shoulder to cry on, and it's just a really odd dynamic that she can't figure out what's quite wrong about it. But trust me, she finds out. I really did like this book. I flew through it, and yeah, looking forward to reading the sequel hopefully very soon. In 7th place, we have Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. This is an adult romance. I read it in October, and I actually read it down in London while on the tube, while walking pretty much. I wanted to be reading this book. Why do I avoid hype? I really shouldn't avoid hype. This was fantastic. It is cheesy, but there are really difficult things they deal with in this story, but also just nice romance smuttiness. I realise I am probably speeding through these too much, but you guys have heard me talk about these books throughout the year, so I don't want to keep boring you with the same information. I feel like these are just my top recommendations for the year, and if you haven't heard me raving about them, then let me know and I can link you to where I do. In 6th place, we have Nina Is Not Okay by Shappi Khorsandi, which I read in August. Throughout reading this, I wasn't sure whether to give it 4 stars or 4.5 or maybe a 5, but by the end I was genuinely choking on tears, like properly sobbing. Nina was such a flawed character. She felt so real and alive. So this is a book dealing with alcohol abuse and addiction, and also becoming like from a teenager to a young woman around that as well, and I just absolutely loved it. I have another of Shappi's books to read, and I feel like I don't know why I'm putting that one off, because if it's anywhere near as powerful, then I'm really missing out by not reading it already. A really different vibe here. In what place? 5th place, we have Rhapsodic by Laura Thalassa, which I read in February. This book is incredibly flawed, but I love it. It is a romantasy book, I guess is what we're calling them now, with the bargainer who our main character has made deals with over the years, and he has enabled her to keep collecting bargains, or he's collecting bargains, she's collecting favors. I don't really know the logistics. He's allowed her to continue making deals with him throughout the years, saying he will collect in the future, and one night he comes back to collect. I need the rest of this series, but I need them to match my edition, so I'm on the hunt. In 4th place, we have Carrie Soto Is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is another one of Taylor Jenkins Reid's masterpieces. I read this in March on holiday in Turkey, and I cried like a baby again, and I don't even like tennis. So the fact that this author can make me feel such deep emotions about a sport that I really don't care about, I'd say is pretty fantastic. Definitely up there as one of my favourites of her books. I think no one's ever going to beat Evelyn Hugo, but this could be in 2nd or 3rd place. In 3rd place, and this is why I had to mention another book earlier, we have The Viscount Who Loved Me by Julia Quinn. This is the 2nd book in the Bridgerton series, and I read it in June. This book made me so happy. It was such a perfect little romance. I genuinely loved it, and it kind of fixed all of the flaws I think are in book 1. Book 1 has quite a disturbing event that happens, and you don't get things like that in book 2. So it really does fix up the image of Bridgerton. I'd already watched the series before I read it, and I do definitely prefer the book. I just really wanted Anthony like so bad, which now I doubt how I say Anthony. because the Americans pulled me up on it. Anthony Bridgerton. That is his name. Sorry for that weird segue. Third place goes to the Viscount Who Loved Me. I don't think any of you, apart from one person who already knows this list, is gonna have guessed what my top 2 books are. If you have any idea, please pause the video and leave it as a comment and say like, I think number 1 and 2 are gonna be, because I don't think I've raved about these books nearly enough this year, but the lasting impact they've had on me has been surreal. So, mini drum roll. In second place, we have Only Love Can Hurt Like This by Paige Toon, which I read back in June. I really don't have much I can say about this book, just head empty, filled with tears, I think is what I said in my original review. This is following a young woman who goes to spend time with her dad in America, who lives with his new wife and her like stepsister or half-sister. There are some grumpy farmer boys at the ranch next door, and she's dealing with a breakup and has wounds to heal. He's dealing with the loss of his wife. We had the small town elements that I love. We had the like cowboy redneckery elements that I love, and we also had an amazing romance as well as some genuine heartbreak. I loved that book so much. I'm so scared to read any more Paige Toon because I don't think it's gonna match up, but this one was just perfect for me, like perfect. Only one book can beat it and be winner of Best Book of 2023, voted by Chloe Reads Books, and that is, mini drum roll, again, pretend there's a drum roll. Book number 1 is Monsters by Emerald Fennell. I absolutely love this book. I read it in March, and I don't think I could actually explain to you 100% what this book covers. It is the exact right level of messed up that I absolutely loved it. So we are following a young girl who's gone for her summer holiday with extended family in this kind of rundown hotel that they're running. During her staying there, dead bodies are washing up, and this girl goes basically straight up to a dead body that's been fished out the harbour, and there's animals crawling out of it and all sorts of disgustingness, and she gets right on in and involved. You cannot trust this girl as far as you can throw her, and I'm weak. But she is her brain is so messed up, and her new little friend's head is so messed up, that this book was so incredibly entertaining. I could not see where it was gonna go. I actually read this with Faith as a buddy read, and she gave it 1 star. So if that means anything about my reading taste, that my best book of the year is one of my friend's least favourite books, I have strange taste, but my strange taste this year was won out by Monsters. So please do let me know down below if you have any opinions on any of these books. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Did you guess any of my favorites? I'd be really excited to hear from you. That is all I have time for now. I hope you are having a very great festive season. I'm currently away relaxing and reading and spending time with Cole, so I'll be down in the comments chatting to you. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you in a couple days for the worst books of the year, but for now, thank you very much and goodbye.